Ooh, what's up, everybody? My name is OMG, WTF fellow of TWBRB. Welcome back to more Total Extreme Wrestling 2016. We are doing the Local to Global Challenge as our own created company, the IWC, the International Wrestling Corporation. We are in our second year as a company, the year of 1971, still local, so we're working our way up there, but this is our second show of the year, and the economy and the wrestling industry are still falling, unfortunately. So that's our biggest challenge right now is kind of just battling a failing industry and a failing economy. Hopefully that'll turn around soon, but we shall see. Anyway, though, let's go ahead and start out the show and see how we do. So we open up with a 27 solid E rating here, as the newcomer, Ivan Putski, stands in the ring for the first time. Ivan Putski's another name that sounds familiar to me. I'll be honest with you guys, I really don't know a whole lot of like really old school wrestling. So a lot of the names are just kind of like familiar to me. I couldn't really put where they've ever wrestled at or who they've wrestled, what title they've won, so on and so forth. I really only know names, so you'll probably hear me say that a lot, like, oh, that's a name that sounds familiar to me, that's a name that sounds familiar. It's always interesting seeing the history of some of these wrestlers, though, like looking up Robert Parker, and it's like, wow, okay, I know who Colonel Robert Parker is now, you know? I mean, it was always a name that I knew, but now it's like I can put a face to it, I can put a gimmick to it and everything, and then there's other people like Ripper Savage, who I've looked up because he's probably my favorite person to book in this game or in this save, and look up Ripper Savage and see, honestly, he's not too far off from the Ripper Savage that I book myself, which I think is hilarious. So either way, damn. One thing I would like to point out, though, is we are only in front of 85 people. That is definitely a step down from our 100 so people we have last time, so that's a bit of a bummer, but what can you do? Either way, though, so the newcomer, Ivan Putski, stands in the ring for his first match when out comes the self-proclaimed king of the IWC, Jim Alexi. And he goes on to say, ladies and babes, Alexi has entered the building. All right, calm down now, girls. I know you all came here to see me, and that's okay. But first, I've got to take care of this rookie here. And then after that, I'm going to give you all the time of your life. So just a quick pre-match promo from Jim Alexi here as he heads into his match against the Polish powerhouse, Ivan Putski. Putski debuting his badass gimmick and getting a rating of very good. I originally wanted to give him kind of a movie star gimmick because he has like that, classic movie star look, I feel. But when I really started thinking about it more and more, it wouldn't make sense for like a movie star, even if he was only an amateur movie star, to be wrestling, at a place like IWC, like in front of 85 people. Like, it makes sense if we were at least like maybe a cult company, like if we had a TV deal, but why would a movie star waste his time there? So, gimmick-wise, it didn't make much sense to me. So I figured, might as well just skate by it and just go with the badass gimmick. One of his nicknames in like the bio was the Polish powerhouse, and I like the name, so that's why we're sticking with the badass gimmick. No worker improvements though, as we head into the matchup, which gets a 30E plus rating here, and about that had subpar wrestling to it, but non-existent crowd heat. Ivan Putski, the rookie, goes over Jim Alexi in 8 minutes 14 seconds by pinfall with a Polish hammer after a distraction from Cousin Slim. So Cousin Slim coming out during the match, playing his banjo. Not sure if he's mocking Jim Alexi or maybe trying to try out to join Jim Alexi or whatnot. But Cousin Slim out here causing a bit of a distraction and allowed Putski to get the Polish hammer off to get his first victory here in the IWC. And I think it's his first victory ever because Putski is indeed a rookie. That's one of the main reasons I hired him. He's very cheap to book. I think he's only around like $300 something compared to like the average 500 and even very bad $1,000 of certain people here. But he's a rookie. I think he's only had one match before and he actually lost it. So this would be his first win in his entire career as well. So good on Ivan Putski there. Interesting here enough, and we might have to revisit these guys, maybe have a feud with them in the future. Jim Alexi and Ivan Putski have great chemistry together, and it showed in their performance, so that's awesome. And crap, I can't speak today. This match did get the crowd hotter. Alexei with an in-ring performance of a 33. Ivan Putski with a 22. Gained some heat for the Rockstar versus Rockabilly storyline as well. No rocker improvements. No worker improvements. We then move on to a 33 E+ rated segment here. Furious after his loss, Alexei just gets in Cousin Slim's face. He's just screaming at him, "What do you think you're doing? You yodel. What, you cost me my match." He's just yelling at him, and then he smacks the banjo out of Cousin Slim's hand, and he pushes him, so Cousin Slim kind of, I don't imagine he falls on his ass or anything, but he falls back, he stumbles a little bit, and Jim Alexei's just furious. He goes to leave the ring. He's had it up to here with Cousin Slim, but Slim goes ahead and picks up his banjo as Jim Alexei's leaving, but before Jim can leave the ring, Cousin Slim, very noticeably angry after being pushed by Jim Alexei, grabs him by the shoulder, turns him around, and takes his banjo and smashes it over Jim Alexei's head. Now, I'm not entirely sure how that would be, taking it wise. Like, a guitar you can rig. It'd be interesting to see if you're able to, like, rig a banjo a way into, like, make sure it doesn't hurt that much when you smash it over somebody's head. But I'd like to imagine that's what he did. He smashed the banjo over Jim Alexei's head, and then maybe he just kind of starts, playing with the broken banjo while Jim Alexei just lays there unconscious, because Cousin Slim's, he's not the smartest guy in the world, but he's definitely not someone you want to irritate or piss off either. He was just trying to be nice, trying to relate to Jim Alexei. He didn't mean to cost him the match. 34 E+ rating here as Bob Roop is standing backstage ready to give us his thoughts heading into his title match, because remember on the last show we had a triple threat match between Bob Roop, Ripper Savage, and Jerry Monty, and Bob Roop ended up winning, so he will be the first person to ever challenge for the regional championship. We already have our first champion, but our first challenger, I guess, now. So Bob Roop backstage ready to give us thoughts heading into the title match. He goes on to say, "Tonight's the night. Sorry it had to be you, Jody, but at least you got to be first, right? It may be a short reign, but at least it's the first reign. Look, Jody, I like you, but I'm not stupid either. I know where you go, not far as your uncle. And we've seen how invested your uncle is in making sure you're at the top. But if your uncle gets in my way, then I'll just ice him as well. I'll see you out there, champ." So quick words from Bob Roop. He's very confident in himself here tonight. I mean, arguably he is the best wrestler in IWC. But not only that, he's very aware of the danger that Jody Arnold's uncle, Don Arnold, poses in this match. I mean, arguably, Don Arnold is the reason that Jody Arnold is the champion. He cost Jerry Monty the opportunity, apparently. So here he is. He could cost Bob Roop his chance as well. We move on to our next match of the night, which gets a 34 E+ rating here. I think this was supposed to start the storyline between these two. I must not have created it, or I don't know. It's interesting. Either way, though, we have a decent matchup here. Guillotine Gordon goes over Don Savage in 8 minutes 17 seconds after illegally using the ropes for leverage. 34 E+ rating here. I don't ignore the illegally using ropes for leverage. That's not how he won. He did have a tainted victory. I went ahead and put that in there. But what I'd like to imagine is we kind of like book Guillotine Gordon kind of be like a member of the Mafia. So I'd imagine maybe he like took a chain and like wrapped it around his fist or something while the referee was distracted with something, and punched Don Savage right across the face with that chain in his hand, and kind of KO'd him to get the victory here tonight. So Gordon unfortunately seemed off his game here tonight, but it did get the crowd hotter. Guillotine Gordon with an in-ring performance of a 28. Don Savage with a 34. We then move on to a 39 D- rating here. It's probably our best segment of the night. Backstage, Don Arnold can be seen talking to Ripper Savage, a bit in secret as well, because he's kind of got a lowered voice. He doesn't want many people to hear. So he goes on to say, "Now you know what you got to do, yeah?" And Ripper looks at him and goes, "Don't you worry about the Savage slaughterhouse. That clown isn't going to know what hit him." Now lower your voice, damn it. "All right, good. Now get out of here. I don't want to see you unless, well, you know what." Now go. I think Jody's coming. And Jody indeed does walk up. That is when Ripper Savage runs off, and the IWC regional champion does indeed walk off. And Don Arnold looks at him and goes, Jody, you ready? Let's go. And just simple, nothing too basic. Jody doesn't even get any words out there. Just heading out to the ring for our main event of the night, which will be for the regional championship, Jody Arnold's first title defense. But it looks like Don Arnold might have a bit of a backup plan here with Ripper Savage. I'm wondering what's going on there. The storyline of the corruption of Jody Arnold continues. And we move on to the main event of the night, which gets ourselves a 45 solid D. Hell yes. And here I'm thinking that Ripper Savage segment was going to be our best segment of the night. But nuh-uh. The main event of the night gets a 45 solid D rating here. And about that had good heat and decent wrestling to it. Jody Arnold goes on to defeat Bob Roop in 12 minutes 56 seconds with a heart punch following interference from Ripper Savage. So the Savage Slaughterhouse making his presence known here tonight. We know he has a little bit of issues with Bob Roop after Roop slapped him a couple weeks back and then pinned him last week to earn this championship opportunity. But we also saw Ripper Savage talking to Don Arnold, so you'd have to assume that might have had something to do with this as well. Don Arnold, of course, did distract in this matchup. It says he distracted Bob Roop, but honestly, the way I booked it, whenever that kind of happens and there's interference, I kind of like to imagine that he's more distracting the referee and not really distracting the opponent because, well, the opponent's too busy getting hit by Ripper Savage. So Savage coming out, and imagine that maybe he's the one that put him out. I don't imagine the heart punch is what put out Bob Roop. So, but then again, maybe Savage just came in there and he gave him kind of the good old like hang his neck across the rope real quick while he jumps down, and then Jody Arnold, who didn't see it happen by the way, kind of distracted by Don Arnold, who is maybe feigning like he's having a heart attack or he hurt himself or something on the outside while the referee and Jody are looking on, and Ripper causes a distraction. And Jody Arnold seizes the opportunity once he sees that Bob Roop is dazed, hits the heart punch, 1, 2, 3. Jody Arnold is still the IWC regional champion. Bob Roop slowed by his injury, but he's still that damn good. I mean, 45 in-ring performance. He's only 1 point below Jody, who's at a 46. But if he wasn't slowed by that injury, he probably would have been better than Jody. Don Arnold doing some good work ringside. He better be for the amount of money I'm paying him. Roop, of course, as I just mentioned, a 45. Jody Arnold with a 46. Both these storylines of the corruption of Jody Arnold and the Iceman versus the Savage Slaughterhouse storyline continuing on, but no worker improvements. So we go ahead and we end off the show. We get ourselves a 40 D- rating here. That's pretty good. I think that's actually one of our better shows, if not our best show. I don't think so, though. I think we have a solid D. That's our best show. Either way, that did go ahead and increase our popularity in one region. We are going ahead and make a speech. Got it. We still got to. We're pointing Bob Roode out as we got a good. This is a good example. He's working through an injury. He puts on one of the best performances, if not the best performance. He's our best wrestler. I'm going to point him out as a good example. If you guys want to take advice from someone, you take advice from Bob Roode. That's all I'm saying. Take advice from Bob Roode. That's all you got to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give Don Savage some encouragement because he did pretty much carry Guillotine Gordon to probably his best match ever. And I'm going to give Ivan Putski some encouragement as well because he had a pretty good debut, I think. So let's go ahead and make our speech. Bob Roop was happy with our speech. Don Arnold, excuse me. Oh, damn it, that was supposed to be Don Savage. Well, I guess we told Don Arnold. Sorry. And Ivan Putski seemed pleased. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and end this off here because there's nothing really I want to showcase at the very end of this. I noticed in the last video, though, that it didn't lag up, so it's kind of weird how it works like that. Like, sometimes it seems like it'll lag up towards the end when this loading screen comes off, and then sometimes it won't, so I can't really predict it. But, actually, you know what? I am going to wait for the loading screen to turn on, or go ahead and go off, because I want to end this off by kind of looking at the finances and seeing what we need to make in order to make a profit or at least break even in this month. It should be a little bit easier because we weren't using a whole bunch of talent like we did last month. And we use a lot more of our more expensive talent, whereas this month we use a lot more of our cheaper talent with the guys like Guillotine Gordon, guys like, Ivan Putski, Jim Alexi. Jody and Don Arnold are a bit more expensive. Ripper Savage, believe it or not, hell yes, by the way. Ripper Savage, believe it or not, is one of the cheaper guys to book. I think he's only around like $200 something. So it's easy to get Ripper Savage on the show. And yeah, so really only both the Don Arnold and Don Savage are expensive, and Jody Arnold's kind of like average. But real quick here, this is actually awesome. We've only had a couple of, it's only been like a year's worth of shows, but IWC Origins has risen in importance and is now rated as an above average event. I think that's going to help us draw in more of an audience, which is awesome. But not only that, this is what I wanted to happen. I mentioned this before that I kind of wanted Origins to become more of our TV show in the future, kind of like a Monday Night Raw for us. And I was thinking that, right now it's going to be our weekly event, and later on we'll be able to hopefully transfer it into more of a television program. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that actually now that I think about it, because this is an event. I don't think I can transfer it over to TV. I didn't realize that. Well, that kind of sucks. If not, though, we'll still keep it as an event, and it'll be like maybe our WrestleMania or maybe our January event or something like that. I'll figure out what to do with it in the future. Either way, though, it is awesome that it has risen to an above average event. That is what we want, because that'll help us draw in more of an audience as well, I believe. So let's go ahead and let's look at our finances. We did have a loss last month, but it was only a $46 loss, so it's not that bad, but it's still a loss. So it's not what we want. We want a profit, and we should be fine this month. I mean, as you can see, last month we did 5,000, almost 5,500 pretty much. We're about 100 lower than that. Here we almost did 4,500, so about $1,000 less. We should definitely make a profit this month, I would think. So definitely not in the red there, I would say. Let's go ahead and do a quick auto push and see where everybody sits. Rock and Robert Fuller, still a mid-carder, loyal to the IWC. That's what you want, because these guys will never leave us. Superstar Jimmy Snukas at the upper mid-card. Alex the Butcher, main eventer. Smirnoff, upper mid. Baden von Heisinger in the mid-card. Bob Roop, main event. Cousin Slim, upper mid. Dino Bravo, upper mid. Savage, main eventer. Don Savage, by the way. Frank Dalton. Oh, speaking of Frank Dalton, before we end this off, Frank Dalton we may not see too often much anymore, because I'm trying to book the IWC show more on Tuesdays, keep it as a consistent event. And Frank Dalton got hired off by this company WSS here, and he works on Tuesdays, as you can see. He works WSS house shows. He's only available Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Sunday, and Monday. And well, I have a lot more wrestlers who aren't available on those days than he. So unfortunately, we won't probably be seeing Frank Dalton and Miss Sherry much anymore here. I'm not going to go ahead and release them, because why release them? It's not my fault you guys can't work. You're working that day. You prefer to work somebody else. I'll probably let their contracts run up when they run up, but I'm not going to release them now. And if I can use them, I will. But yeah, Frank Dalton, we might not see very much anymore. But anyway, he's in the mid-card region. George Holt's also a mid-carder. Guillotine Gordon, upper mid. Ivan Putski's a mid-carder just after his first match, too. Good for him. In fact, let's look at his popularity. He had 0 popularity before. Now he has a 7. Not too bad. Jerry Monty, main eventer. Jim Alexi, mid. Jody, main eventer. Les Roberts, lower mid. Randy Tyler, upper mid. Ripper Savage, main eventer. And as you see, 260, like I said, he's not expensive. And Roger Brown, of course, is out injured, so we cannot rank him. And I think that'll do it. So I'm going to go ahead and end this off here. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, do me a favor. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, my name has been OMG WTF, LOL to W.